Come on, Antonio, do it again, man. Do it again. It was funny. It was good. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Antonio, come on, we go back, dude. Help us out here. Nah, you're not going to humour me. Hello, big, beautiful world. We are taking up the Chilton, the A1R Design Bureau's Chilton. Why? We'll get into that. We're starting at Brindisi, and we are, and I just have to check something. What do I have to check? What do I have to check? What does I have to check? Light planner, raka. Okay. Jolly good, jolly good. Alright. Let's hop in and get the flock out of Dodge, eh? Oh, there we go. Quick reset. And why have I got the assists on? Oh look, I don't know. So many questions I don't have the answers to. Battery. Magnetos. Throttle, looking good. Anything else to get hung up about? I'm thinking not. Fuel valve. You know what? Let us, because we've got quite a way ahead. Come on. Yeah, okay. Fuel quantity, we've only got half a tank, so we're going up the fuel a bit more. We needs to. We've got a fair chunk ahead of us. Why have we gone to weather? I don't want weather, I want pay, I want load. Where's the old load? No, not for the controllers, not for the cameras, no. Payout options, here we go, fuel. Fuel. Juice. Trip fuel. I guess we're fairly chockers. Alternate. Look, worst comes to worst, we'll give ourselves some fuel and we'll try and land safely. Alright, well, let's start it, shall we? Straight away, because I forgot this blighter doesn't have brakes. Come on, kid. So why are we doing it? And why haven't I been? Doubtless you have so many questions about my salient absence. I jest, you don't have any. That being said, it's not as if I haven't been recording, it isn't as if I haven't been using the sim. I've been doing a lot of both, but for one reason or another, it's both the simulator and the PC and time and so many things have been unkind. They've been unkind towards me. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a flight from Brindisi. Hopefully we'll make it as far as Naples. And if not, we'll try not to crash in a field if it comes to that. And we're good to roll, I think. Let's do it. We are good to roll. Come on, kid. Come on, Bubba. We're away. Looking out. Now hopefully the flight itself won't Might work out to be about an hour or so. Who knows? Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Let's just circle over the magnificent side of Brindisi. Now, what an amazing city it is. So, honestly, anything of import I have to say will probably only take about 10 minutes and the rest will be waffle. So, please be aware up front that that is exactly what I'm going to be doing for the next however long. So why Brindisi, yeah? We'll start there. Well, this is a trip my missus and I took last year, and I'm kind of recreating it by stages. I did a recording of Athens over to Corfu, stopping at Delphi, well not stopping at Delphi, but circling over Delphi, and recorded so much else besides, but I realised there wasn't a lot to say inside them. It's 2024, you either love it or hate it by now. I really don't want this to be a payout or a Jeremiah on 2024, although I have a feeling you will walk away or run away. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to bloody set the hardware. There we go. So, that's better. So yeah, really, I'm recreating the journey we did last year through the magic of the flight simulator, because geek. So we're going to hold there, I think. Nice steady cruise, and we'll swing it from there. Actually, we'll probably cut a little across. We'll take her up to about 300. That is to say, we'll head in that general direction. Now, about all the recordings that I failed to post. Part of it is my PC, the power supply and CPU blew up, and I wanted, and part of me still wants to blame the NVIDIA driver, part of me wants to blame MSFS2024, because I think it defaulted to a DLSS setting, where in fact I've got a 3080 Ti card, and I think the DLSS is optimized for the 4 series onwards. So I was getting heating throughout my machine, and then I realized it's probably highly unfair to both NVIDIA and to oh man, okay, this is the reason I do it, because it just looks blinking beautiful. So yeah, it's been a bit of an odyssey these past few months. I'm just trying to get the poor man's autopilot to cut in a bit so I don't get too much climb on it. Keep it nice and low, hopefully keep the speed up a bit so I don't bore you brainless over the course of an hour and a half. I only bore you brainless for the course of an hour or so. Yeah, so I had hardware blow up on me. That's a pain in the bum. I have exclusively used MSFS2024 these past few months, although again it can be hit and miss. I've had all kinds of CTDs. I have had to poodle around with the settings. Again, my aircraft are working some days, not the next, etc, etc. In case you've watched my channels previously, I do tend to favour planes like this. Let's get our obligatory postcard. Yes, it is a cutie. So yeah, even the little things like the clem working one day and not the next. And I'm damned if I can get it working with the cold and dark. And I want to get it working with the cold and dark because they may not be, and I quote, study level, But I don't care. I don't care that they're not study level. There's something about the exhilaration of just making sure we get, you get that kind of immersive factor. Another thing is turning stuff on and off all the time doesn't enthrall me. And I'll give you an example. FS Realistic Pro, where the aircraft shakes about a little more, because 2024 is already integrating many of those components, like first person, as we can see, a slight amount of the movement aspect. I think FS Realistic Pro still has the edge on what I'm seeing in the native landscape, and it is supposed to be fully 2024 compatible by now, but I do get weird conflicts, weird sound conflicts and all kinds of things, so I've turned it off outright. And I think this is why a lot of us are still posting, or a lot of people I should say are still posting, is 2024 ready yet, 6 months later? And depending on who you're talking to, there's a kind of majority vote that maybe not, and there's truth in that. However, the trade-off is that every time you do get it loaded just the way you want, it looks beautiful. It looks far more beautiful than 2020, which in itself is a work of art. This is a whole other level with the texturing and the superior quality on the 4K textures and so on. But that being said, I think the notion that you've got to kind of set it up every time you want to fly in it is a bit of a pain in the ass, and that is putting people off. Add to that, Vegas, in which I usually do my editing, is behaving, excuse me please, also like a bear these days. So I get loading the file to edit, doesn't like it, CTDs, straight back to desktop. And that's a pain. So that's the reasons why I haven't posted anything planned, because like I said, I didn't want it to be a Jeremiah, and also, we're a long ways. I'm in the camp that I really don't like the marketplace interface. I don't like that whole, there was so much elegance by comparison around 2020 that is no longer there. A certain Lego, I forget how people describe it, but a certain Lego-like aspect to appeal to, actually I don't know, I really don't know what demographic it's aimed at, and I can't get too excited about what it might be. I think it's enough that there's enough out there to say, you know what, not entirely my bag. The big draw card is the quality of the simulator itself. It's lovely. It loads in less than a minute and a half now, which is phenomenal. Thank you, Asoba. Whereas, after years of pulling down additional scenery purchased, or the stuff from .to where you donate or whatever, all of these aspects would in the end cause the flight simulator anywhere up to 15 minutes or more to load. And yeah, that's a bit silly looking back, but again, no regrets. The aircraft that I do get to fly in here is kind of, I don't like the enable disable aspect. I think if it's not working, don't allow us to use it. Don't tease us, and then run away. Yeah, a lot of aspects you think, you're treating me as dumb, and I can't get on board with that. But that being said, I know the Asobo team would not do so consciously. I know they have a deep respect, a profound respect, I dare say, for the entire flight simming community, and they also do have to cater at an holistic level for most users, so the best for the most. So the fact that there's a lot of us up here on YouTube going, yeah, You know, not our finest hour, not the finest hour yet. But that being said, it yeah, we've still got to find that balance. I think it's kind of evidenced by there's less YouTubing joy in 2024. In fact, most of the staple YouTubers we've gone to this past half decade is more aimed at 2020 for the most part. In fact, a lot of aircraft is still, as is evidenced by Cowan Sims' new CH1, 2020 at this point. The Hawker Fury Hawker Heart, Audax? No, Fury and Hawk Heart that I've been looking forward to. Again, you go to purchase it and it says, oh, if you're after the 2024 version, you may want to wait a while. And so it could be the complexities of WASM design, it could be the complexities, yeah, of so many of these aspects, I guess. But it's it's just a little heartbreaking that, you know, it comes to this, because I've got to give myself, pick up some juice, otherwise I'm going to be here all day. Yeah, I think it's just it's testimony for all the things that are right. There are as many things that are still finicky, pernickety. It's almost as if all the developers were caught off guard with it all, and I can't understand why, given that it had been in development for 2 or 3 years or more. And I'm sure, again, I'm hearing Hogg and Sebastian and the team talk about it, I think they wouldn't have left everybody in the dark, and they're not out to shortchange everybody, because I personally believe these cats are first and foremost flight sim lovers, and they wouldn't consciously go about going and trying to do anything, you know, underhanded like that. Everything they've done is a labour of love. I think we can all agree on that. And you look down and you look around and you go, that has to be true. That has to be true. And it has to drive the commercial decisions they're making, or even the aesthetic or marketing decisions they're making. But yeah, it's more satisfying as a simulator. It's less satisfying as an experience and again, I guess this does place me firmly in the whingy whiny camp, which is unfortunate, because I don't think I'm really that kind of person. But I miss bush trips. I really miss bush trips. I don't use career mode. Like most people, I've been enamored of it for a few weeks, and then I thought, yeah, it's a bit dull. And I get it. It's winning over a lot of people, career mode. I see it and I think, oh wow, okay, so this really has legs for a lot of people. That's fantastic. I don't begrudge them for a second. But I do, and it took me a while to put the words together in my head as to why I miss bush trips. And one of them is, I remember first doing was at Brecon Bridge to Mariposa, and thinking, holy heck, I'd never have contemplated in my wildest dreams flying these extensive legs. And then from Coltrane up to that South American, the Patagonian leg, and similar deal. It spurred me into thinking about different parts of the world that I, for the life of me, would not have contemplated ordinarily. And then when, you know, the private user sector got hold of it and started posting bush trips on .to, it blew, yeah, it did, it kind of blew my mind. And I'll give you a perfect example. There was one, forgive me for not remembering the guy's name, but he did Southwest America, and I think it started, God, I can't even remember where it started and ended, but it took you over, it took you up through the Pueblo mountain villages, It took you for these amazingly long tracks over the Arizona desert and New Mexico area. Took you over Los Alamos. Also, it didn't hold your hand, so you actually had to really think about where you wanted to go, and kind of study it up a little on it, as you would for a real life situation. And it was absolutely delightful. Another one was recreated the twin brothers taking their dad's, or the home built plane that their father had built in New Jersey, and flying all the way to San Diego, across America in it, in 1966, and recreating that flight. And look, it could be the pedant in me, and by that I mean the reader in me, who, you know, I remember that trip really well because it took you over Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Now, I'm a cat who lives in the bottom of the world, and I'm not ordinarily thinking about Bucks County, Pennsylvania, but one of my favourite writers, dating back to the 1920s and 30s, had a farm there. I thought, oh wow, this is S.J. Perelman's old stomping ground. And something about that really tickled me pink. I thought, that's fucking cool, pardon my French. But because somebody out there unwittingly kind of sparked this thing inside me that said, oh yeah, this is so great, you know. And frankly, it's an amazing looking part of the world. It was a really good, if you're still running 2020, or if they ever get it set up for 2024 for bush trips, I urge you to grab it, the 1966 Cross America trip, because it's a lot of fun. It does take you to some unexpected quarters, and it looked amazing in 2020, and I can imagine it only looks stunning in 2024. So yeah, I miss bush trips. I miss bush trips for the way they find one's imagination. Career mode does not spark joy or fire imagination. It had a certain amount of curiosity to begin with, and that kind of novelty wore off fairly quickly. So I'm left with free flight, and I don't begrudge that, but it just, there's a remarkable amount of feeling a bit like a left behind with 2024. Like I said, having to almost reconfigure it every time you log into it to go anywhere. No longer having quite a lot of the, as a reference before, staple YouTubers posting stuff about 2024. They tend to be posting about 2020 if they're on air at all. Now that could just be life, of course, and moving on and having to deal with the realities of our day-to-day existence. But yeah, it'd break my heart to think that somehow, you know, 2024 isn't measuring up, sparking joy for others, if you will. But now I may fall silent and just enjoy the flying for a while. The colours I'm still not getting the balance for. I'm using the NVIDIA drivers, so actually let's do a quick experiment. Alt F3. See what colours that gives us. A little more subdued. Yeah. Alright, alright. However, when I do set it up the right way, it does give me that whole magnificent men and their flying machines routine, which is what I'm seeking every time that whole kind of pioneering aspect. So not that you would be listening, and not that I would give you any great cause to listen, but someone who has loved your work for the past few years, please get the bush trips back in here, because it's kind of like a way of stepping outside your own echo chambers and your own bubbles, when somebody else turns around and says, hey, check out this part of the world, and you think, holy hell, had no idea. I love that. I love that kind of like swapping football cards or swapping footy cards or gun cards and going, have you got this? Have you done this? Have you checked this out? And I know better than most it is pure nerdsville to even carry on in this vein. But it's also super cool to do so, because this again is where 2024 succeeds, as 2020 succeeded, in rekindling a sense of wonder, a great sense of joy. One of the things you can see in the auto gen that it doesn't really capture, and this is what still gives license obviously to third-party units, third-party groups and third-party creators. It doesn't capture the architecture of the respective nations. The auto-gen architecture seems to be the same all around the world for the most part, unless it's tailored or a bespoke city of some kind. But yeah, that this does not look like Italy, and that ain't so bad. But I do hope that one day it does, because again, immersion. That's what keeps a lot of us coming back. Now, hopefully, you know what? I'm just going to go until I find an airfield, and then I'll plonk it down, I think, because I will continue my merry journey over towards Naples, and then we'll scout out Pompeii and Ercolano, and we will then continue from there. But for now, I'm quite happy to go on heading over this way, and I will seek out an airfield. Now, I think you can, I'm not sure if you can get the Ryan STA yet, but for some reason, yeah, I don't want to rebuy all the aircraft and all the scenery if I can help it. I think that's kind of a great waste, and they haven't made it abundantly clear if there are discounts on anything, or you know, I just wait for updates to appear in Sim Market or Marketplace. Yeah, it's almost as if 2024 caught a lot of people with their trousers down, and that strikes me as bizarre. And don't get me wrong, please don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on 2024, I'm just confused about a lot of it. It seems the comms, the communication around it, and the activity around it, and the delays around so many other components, and the not miscommunications, but and not failure to deliver on promises. Like I say, I still tend to view the Asoto crew, whatever else my thoughts about Microsoft as monolithic structure, my thoughts about the Asoto crew tend to be that they are first and foremost sim lovers, flight sim lovers, and therefore they would act with the best interests of flight sim lovers in mind. But just a bit of a bloody shame that it feels like we're still somehow part of the beta, all of us, for this. Whereas with 2020, you know, after you took 48 hours to set it up for yourself, I didn't have to alter it for the next 2 years, 3 years, and then something happened and then I had to reload it all, and then 48 hours and then I get it the way I want. Here it's been 6 months or more, and it feels like I have to tweak it every time I hop in, and that's a little bit odd. So, I mean, in the meantime, let's find ourselves an airfield. And sorry that sounds like a downer. I mean, it's been the first time in such a long time that I posted anything, and I posted this Jeremiah, this whiny little mock turtle Jeremiah, about how it's breaking my heart. It's not. It is confuddling me. It is more beautiful. It is the sim that I wanted. It's just that the shell that it comes wrapped in is a turn off, kind of off-putting on so many levels. But this is the price we pay for our little hobbies, and hopefully in time I'll be able to load in more and more of the... I see Red Winger slightly increasing their volume up on the marketplace. I do hope they get their 1935 stuff across to it. Again, I don't want to have to reinvest the hundreds of dollars I've put into that environment just to say, to give it this feel, this whole golden, early days of pioneering through Golden Wing kind of feel. But there is no doubt about it. It's a work of art, but it's a very complex and divisive work of art. And the art critic in me was to say, "And is that not the mark of great art?" No, it's still fundamentally MSFS2024. If I don't find an airfield, I'm just going to find a nice little field to put it down in. And I forgot that this sucker doesn't have brakes or flaps, does it? Don't believe it does. Oh yes, we have flaps. We do have flaps. That is good. Hilarious. So that's a trick for me. I mean, I'm guarded about the whole DLSS thing. I'm guarded about any NVIDIA updates. I'm guarded about any MSFS 2024 updates, because again, I cannot say for certain if they contributed to the CPU overheating or the power supply blowing out, or if the power supply and the CPU were, as the old Zen proverbs time, in the old words of the old Zen proverb, it was simply their time to die. But it smacks of kind of coincidence to me that frankly pissed me off for a little bit. And there you can see one of the only add-ons I've bought for 2024 so far, and that's the railings, the towers, power lines. And again, 2020 did that for free. That was actually a freebie add-on in 2020. And don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge the owners making any coin off it. That wasn't technically free, it was pay what is it? Donationware. But that being said, it's kind of like, okay, I don't want this to become an entertainment arts, an EA money cash grab. It's going to leave a nasty taste in everyone's mouth. For anyone who's ever played the old EA games, for all you gamers out there, you know what it's like. You don't want everything to be a microtransaction every time you launch a flight. That will, well, frankly, for me, that'll be a showstopper. That's when I just scrub everything and go back to 2020. It all sounds very petulant and immature, doesn't it? Oh well, that's life. But holy hell, it is an amazing simulator. Just as 2020 was an amazing simulator, so too this is an amazing simulator. And flying about in a little beastie like this, over such beautiful areas, really floats my boat big time, more than ever actually. Doesn't look like I picked a lot of a good landing space. Look, the truth of it is, if I can make, I might even fly over to Naples and I'll just edit out a whole bunch of the usual shit. But I say that every time and I don't bother editing it, so Who knows? Welcome to Flying Liar's internal monologue. Down in the quarry as a challenge, that'd be cool. I would not. Now from memory, trying to think where did oh no, it's up around the Dolomites for the marble. The famous marble. Why not? You know what? Let's do it. Let's just be crazy. Let's just go kooky and find that field and see if we can. Oh, looks like an open air festival down there. Awesome. Land on them. Oh, so cool. Oh, this is what I love most. This whole, you know what, I want to go here. Yeah, kind of do and I don't. And nah, I want to go here now, you know. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's see if we can plonk her down over here, eh? So very much like kind of a World War I feel, really. Hopefully we won't scare any animals. Not the best move, actually. I'm gonna collect some leaves. No, let's continue on. It was worth a shot, folks. Oh, there we go. Is that any better? Nah, still not really ideal. Maybe. I don't know. Sure, why not? Why not? You know what? Knowing my luck, there's probably an airfield 30 feet away that I'm just not seeing. We are just bad news, aren't we? No. Similar deal. What the hell am I trying to do, people? On top of that, there we go. On top of that, I don't want to come down on some power lines. So we're just going to continue on for a while and get a feel for what's what. I don't even know how far I've come, to be honest. Won't be that far. So yeah, long story short, we took a train, or short story long, we took the train from Brindisi over through to Caserta and then down through Salerno, bypassed Naples and went straight to Pompeii. and that was really, really cool. And the Arvo, we got into Pompeii. We brought a cab back up to Herculaneum, and for those of you cats who are interested, do it. Just go and have a look. Herculaneum is kind of like Pompeii on a smaller scale, on a more compact, neater scale. And there's a certain phenomenal intimacy about walking around those places. It's more so Herculaneum because there were fewer people. I don't know whether we just got lucky or whatever the reason might be, but yeah, so many of the places we saw, you were standing in front of sculpting that date back over 2,000 years, and they are incredible. And they're right there in front of you. There's no plexiglass and no glass. There's no, in fact, a lot of these places have just been discovered. Even when we're at Pompeii, everybody says, you know, it's all been dug up. It hasn't. There were 3 whole new areas that had only been discovered 2 years ago under COVID. So it was lovely, and absolutely kind of magical. Catching the train back from Herculaneum down to Pompeii is frankly a little bit sad, I think, because it's Naples, and it's, you know, it's savagely working class, like blue collar. And I say that as a blue collar boy. You can see that everybody has the look of hard work in their face. They've just worked all their lives and they're old before their time. And that's just real difficult. Oh, I can't bother. Oh. What are you doing? There we go. There we go. Settle down, Bubba. Oh. I'm sure the old Padrone is going to come running out and go, what the hell do you think you're doing, lad? And that's okay. It's alright. Alright, so let's hit the choke, shall we? Ah, très intéressant. Mixture's not cutting off. There we go. Maggie's off, all the way down. We're off. Let's get out before they come at us with pitchforks and shotguns. We come in peace. Yeah. So one thing that I absolutely agree with a lot of people is this is a beautiful walking simulator. Buongiorno. That's it, big beautiful world. That's all I've got for you today, but I figured I'd have to make a video at some point, and hopefully this will get uploaded soon enough. Alright, love you. Catch you later. Bye.